This video is celebrating my 5-year anniversary on estrogen. I commenced estrogen on August 1st of 2018 for hormone replacement therapy, Hrt, male to female, I'm transgender. A lot has happened, a lot has changed over the last 5 years. And thank you to everyone who congratulated me on my 5-year anniversary. I appreciate that, thank you. So I mentioned that I would like to answer some of the questions that you sent to me. Only 2 people sent questions, so I will answer those 2 questions. So the first one, I hope she doesn't mind me saying her name, Beth English Baxter on TikTok. So Beth asked, have you experienced any misogyny since hormone therapy? Well, I don't know if this is misogyny, but back in 2019, it was the week that I was legally changing my name, and I went out to Walgreens to buy a notebook. And there were 2 guys in the store. They were on the stationery aisle, and one of them said the F word under his breath. And I got really nervous and walked out of the store. And that was really the only time, I think. That seems more like harassment to me. I'm not a feminist. I believe that women should have certain rights, but as far as being a feminist and feeling oppressed by the patriarchy, I really don't, to be honest. 3rd and 4th wave feminism has hurt women in a lot of ways, and it's hurt that relationship between men and women. It seems like now there's been a battle of the sexes for such a long time, and I feel like that is dividing us and affecting relationships between males and females in a negative way. Men have actually been kinder to me since I started presenting female as a trans woman. I have not experienced any misogyny, to be honest. But I noticed that men will open the door for me, they'll speak to me, they'll smile at me, make eye contact, and I greatly appreciate that. When they look at me, or when they look up at me, or make eye contact with me, they seem to light up. But it seems like a lot of trans women have it all wrong. They think that femininity is being provocative and slutty, which isn't true. You can be feminine and present yourself with class as a lady. You don't need to have a lot of money or dress in fancy clothes to be classy. And a lot of us are starved for attention and validation from other people, even from people who will never accept us. You can't be a people pleaser. You can't be everything to everyone. There are going to be some people who just don't like you for no reason, or because you're trans, black, white, whatever. Or you're not a Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal. Who really cares anyway? As long as you're a good person with a good heart, that should be all that matters, I think. So my second question comes from TikTok. One of my followers, his name is, and please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. I am awfully sorry. Isa Ayukin. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. But his question was, when did I first know that I was a trans woman? Well, thank you for asking that. The first time that I knew was June of 2018, 2 months before I transitioned. I took a trip to the Netherlands at the end of May, and I stayed for almost 2 weeks. And even then, I was trying to figure out whether or not I was transgender. And I was watching a lot of content on YouTube. Little did I know that there were actual trans people on YouTube who were going through or experiencing a lot of the things that I experienced throughout my life. And in late 2017, I read Caitlyn Jenner's book. And I know that a lot of people who are trans have issues with Caitlyn Jenner. I haven't seen Caitlyn Jenner really do anything that was wrong, in my opinion. I don't follow her closely, but her book was good. It made a lot of sense to me. It was interesting. There were some things that I identified with her being a celebrity and, having access to more than most of us have. I didn't quite identify with that part, but I don't have any issues with her being a conservative. I don't care. After finishing the book, I put it away and stopped thinking about it. Then a few months later, right before my trip, I started getting those feelings again. The feelings of dysphoria, the feeling of being drawn to feminine things, and a lot of emotion coming over me. And I felt that it was only getting worse and that I had to do something about it and research what I was dealing with. So after I came back to the trip, I was able to put things into perspective, and I came to the realization, I accepted the fact that I am in fact transgender. So from there, I figured out how to start hormones and what my options were. It was pretty easy. I was living in Colorado at the time, but I postponed starting HRT for a few weeks because I wanted to do cryopreservation. I can still have children, and I wanted to make sure that I took care of that before starting hormones. Before we get into the next part of the video, I would like to start with apologizing. While editing this video, I noticed that I misgendered the trans man whose girlfriend went with me to Victoria's Secret that day, back in 2019. I am terribly sorry. Even those of us who are transgender do sometimes make mistakes with using the correct pronouns. I appreciate that both of them offered to go with me to Victoria's Secret that day. I was going to leave this part out of the video, but I thought it would be better if I kept it, because it's important that we try to use the correct pronouns with each other. I met him 2 months before he started testosterone. And the last time that I saw him, I think he had maybe been on testosterone for a few weeks. So I had more interaction with him in support group prior to him starting testosterone. Enjoy the rest of the video. Another incident happened. This happened at Victoria's Secret. I used to meet with a support group back in 2018 and 2019, and we had trans women and trans men in our group. One of the trans men there was nice to me, invited me to go to Victoria's Secret with her girlfriend to find out my bra size. So I was nervous that day. I showed up and met them there at the mall at Victoria's Secret. And we went to the store. We were looking around. I picked out something that I liked, and both of us walk up to the fitting room, the entrance where the fitting room was, and the lady working in that department said for everyone to hear, "Oh no, we don't allow men back here." She said that to me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what? This is so embarrassing." I almost ran out the store, dropped what was in my hand, and ran out of there. But he wasn't there. He separated from us so we could, do our thing. But she said immediately, "No, she's with me." And the lady working there was like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sure. And this was back in 2019, April of that year. So I was able to get fitted for a bra to find out my bra size, and I'm glad I wasn't alone for that experience. Had I been alone at Victoria's Secret that day, I wouldn't have set foot in there again. or any store to be fitted for a bra. I probably would have just ordered some online and hoped for the best, and if they didn't fit, I'd have to continue sending them back until I found something that did. But it all worked out, and I treated them to lunch that day. So those were the only 2 questions that I received. I was hoping that I could receive more, because there are things that I'm not thinking of right now that I'm sure you would like to know about. So I still experience dysphoria. I still have a ways to go in my transition. But over the last 5 years, I've been giving it my best and trying my best to take care of myself and live as my authentic self. And I'm still learning who that person is. I haven't quite figured things out just yet, but I'm getting there. I am. Thank you for sending all of the questions. If there are questions that you do have, feel free to send them my way. I'll try to answer them. I ask that you please be respectful. Those of us who identify as trans, we're not a monolith. There are things that are happening now that a lot of trans women, including myself, do not agree with, or not in support of. Not all of us are trying to impose our will on the majority. A lot of us just simply want to live our lives and blend in and not hurt anyone. To all a good evening and God bless, and thank you. Take care.